giving up, getting ghost, had about enough. Every day I wake up, I feel stuck. What's the next move? Lose situations in the past makes me hesitant to move too fast. Seems good runs never last. Before I crash, I'm plotting on the perfect way to make some cash or a dash. Either way, never involved in hard feelings. The mission remains consistent. No matter who does it, doesn't feel it. Adversity certainly aims to murder me. Take my spirit and erase it and kill it. It's been a minute since I felt that peace.
What's up? What's happening? What's shaking? What's cracking? What's popping? What's going on in your day-to-day? Hey man, something was on my brain and I wanted to share it with you real quick if you had the time. You know what I'm saying? Let's exchange combo real quick. I was thinking, man, I was watching the interview. I won't say who, you know what I'm saying? But it struck me how people are coming down on certain artists, namely women, because of them utilizing their tool, which is seduction. And there's different ways that human beings go to war, and we're gonna talk about as far as gender, you know what I'm saying? Men go to war with armament, you know what I'm saying? Artillery, physicality, combat. Women go to war with seduction, you know what I'm saying? Pleasure, you feel me? The promise of pleasure, so on and so forth. And I don't feel like we should come down on women because that's their tool, you know? And just because they're elevating and evolving to a place where they understand more how to utilize that tool, you know what I'm saying? We should, you know, get down with that. We should be cool with that. You know what I'm saying? We should embrace that, welcome that. You feel me? And then add to it, make it a better form of warfare. And I'm only saying that in this vein because it's not only used in that manner as far as warfare, but I was reading something, studying something, I saw the interview, and this is just like the mixture of what the conclusion I came to that I'm sharing with you. But so back to the point. Men go to war with arms, you know what I'm saying? Guns, artillery, physicality, combat. And like I said, women go to war with seduction. Now that's not to say that it can't be reversed on either end. You know what I'm saying? Women can go to war with combat, artillery, armament, and then vice versa. Men can use seduction as a form of war as well. But to me, that's political. That's politics. Because politics is, you know what I'm saying, warfare without bloodshed. But war is politics with bloodshed, you know? So if war is political and women aren't using bloodshed as their means or tools or way to go to war, then that's political. You know what I'm saying? If you're on the right end of that form of warfare, then you wouldn't have any problem. But if you're getting dogged out in your day-to-day, you feel me? The woman on your team or the women on your team ain't treating you fairly, you know what I'm saying? It's a hassle trying to get them on the same page. Of course you're gonna come down on those who are utilizing the gift that God gave them to make revenue, to, you know, get their point across, what have you. It's all a part of life, you know? It's all a part of life. And I don't think we should be so hung up on people using what God gifted them with. You know what I'm saying? If it's natural, it's natural. You know what I'm saying? Now, there is an extension to this kind of warfare that deception plays a part in. You know what I'm saying? Talking about the seduction side of things. When you talk about the LGBTQ, nothing against anybody's lifestyle. Whatever you subscribe to, however you live in your life, it's none of my business. I know how I'm, you know, handling my business, how I'm getting out here, what I prefer. That doesn't mean I'm against what you prefer. When I say this, don't trip, you know what I'm saying? But I feel as though the LGBT community with the transgender population, that's deception mixed in with seduction. You know what I'm saying? It's confusion mixed in with the seduction. And then that's where things get crazy. You know what I'm saying? That's where it gets wild. But it's only wrong, not that somebody has changed their gender or has decided to be other than what they were born as, but it's only a problem once deception is now a part of the equation. You see what I'm saying? Once deception becomes the means to your end, now that becomes a situation. And then people be complaining like, oh, it's violence against transgenders and all. You gotta look at the whole reason as to why that might be the case. In some cases, not every case, you know what I'm saying? Hate crimes are real. People do dastardly deeds to people who they don't agree with. That is very true. And being who we are, those are my tribe, you know what I'm saying? Those are my kind that share my heritage. You know that hate crimes are just a reality in this society. You know what I'm saying? Since way back up until now. And it's still going on. It'll probably happen, you know what I'm saying, weeks from now, tomorrow, whatever. I'm not wishing it, not manifesting it, but it's the reality. And I'm saying that to say, hate crimes are real, but when these things occur, you have to realize what's behind that. Because I know me as a man, let me speak on me. Me being a man, I don't have nothing against a transgender until they get into my radius. You feel me? And I feel like I got a pretty good eye as to what's natural, what's fake. But if is done up, if he, she, whatever you want to call them, if they done up to a way where it's hard for me to realize what they are, and then they deceive me, and then we go the length, we go the distance, and then it get to that point where I realize I'm gonna be heated. I'm not gonna sit here on YouTube and be like what I would and wouldn't do, but I will tell you I will be mad. I could tell you that. I will tell you that. I'll be upset. And I will have a right to be upset. And then when some people get angry, you can't dictate how they, you know what I'm saying, exert that anger, how it's manifested. So I'm saying all that to say, seduction with deceit becomes an issue. Seduction in itself is not bad to me, as long as you're not a victim of it. I feel like those who have been victimized by seduction are the ones more so who are speaking up against it, who have a problem with it. To me, a woman has a right to express herself in any way she sees fit. You feel me? If she wants to use her body to express how she feels, if that's the way she feels liberated, who are we to say, hey, that's wrong, put some clothes on, da 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 da. That's the way she living. You don't have to be in her radius. You don't have to be in her circumference. You know what I'm saying? You don't got to be in her vicinity. Just get out the way and leave her to somebody that appreciates that can enhance that. You know what I'm saying? That could build on that. You feel me? But we being who we are, those of mine, I'm speaking to y'all one more time. You have to understand that the society that we live in at this current time definitely is political, but there's an aspect of warfare involved in our day-to-day. And this is not for me to get you to get up in arms and become alarmed and be like, oh my God, it's the end of the world. No. I'm just saying, competition is warfare. We, being who we are, we have been in competition with those who have been over us for years, decades, centuries, and it's a reality, whether you see that reality or not. That's just what it is. You can't get around that. You are in competition to succeed against all the factors that society is throwing against you, all the factors that are naturally against you, and so on and so forth. The history that contributes to the reality we are dealing with right now, all these things are against us and therefore creates a climate of competition, and war is competition. So therefore, in our day-to-day, you know what I'm saying, throughout our life, we are at war. That being said, in war, amongst your tribe, amongst your people, everybody has a part to play. You see what I'm saying? That's not to say that everybody's role is absolute and what they're expected to do is what they have to do, but I'm saying everybody has a part to play. So I'm saying that to say, you know what I'm saying, the arms, you know what I'm saying, self-defense, you know, having the caches of weapons, that's one thing. Speaking in an extreme sense, you know what I'm saying? Not like you should go out and get your, you know, I do believe in self-defense, but we'll talk about that later. But just follow me down this road for a second. The combat warfare is one part of it. The self-defense and all that, that's one part of it. But then, okay, you have to think about how the women will be able to contribute to the warfare if they cannot pick up a gun. If they can't pick up a gun, what are they, obsolete in war? I really refuse to believe that. I can't agree with that. I'm not going to subscribe to that. So that being said, if you agree with what I just told you, seduction can be another way to utilize, you know what I'm saying, their talents. Women. You feel me? That's another way that the end goal can be met, because there's more than one way to skin the cat. You feel what I'm saying? There's more than one way to accomplish your goal. Do you get me? So as I was watching the interview, it just struck me as disappointing that men older than me, you know, up in age, who you would think at this time in their life, they would have a better understanding of the many facets of women, you know what I'm saying, the many contributions, the many sides a woman has, the many attributes a woman has, you know what I'm saying? That's not me saying it's all good, but I'm not gonna say it's all bad either. You know what I'm saying? And that being said, you would think that at this time in their life, they would have a different understanding, but it's not the case. And everything he was saying was almost demonizing the women that produce what they produce for the sake of their revenue. Who are we to say who's right or wrong and how they accumulate, you know what I'm saying, and make their scratch? Who's to say who's right or wrong? You feel what I'm saying? This person being in the music business, somebody else can come out and have the same interview with those same people and say against him You wrong because you compromised. You're not giving back nothing to the community. No. We give you accolades. We give you all your music is jamming, da 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 da. We say all these things and give you praise, but then on the flip side, a woman, because her video is a little touchy, you know what I'm saying, or the words she's saying is a little raunchy, you know what I'm saying, you come down on her. You got to understand, man, if you do not welcome and embrace differences of perspective, you will become obsolete. You'll become a rigid old man, old woman stuck in your ways. You'll never be able to elevate past your current understanding. If you can't elevate your understanding, you can't evolve. You can't grow. You see what I'm saying? Let alone build anything. But just for the sake of personal growth, you won't be able to do so because you're stuck in your ways. And life is too short. Mortality is fragile. You see what I'm saying? Mortality is fragile, so therefore life is short. That being said, not in a gloomy sense I'm trying to put that to you. I'm trying to put it to you in this way. Life being short, you cannot afford to be stuck in a way in this short period of time. You see what I'm saying? So if you recognize that you might be out at a function, you feel like this is a formal event, and you see a woman wearing something that's, revealing or whatever you want to say, reserve judgment, man. Reserve judgment. Don't automatically view her as something degenerate, you know what I'm saying, or something not worth investing in, maybe conversing with, possibly, you know what I'm saying, not worth your attention or acknowledgement. Don't do that, because again, you'll run the risk of stifling your growth, stifling your evolution. And then more so for those of mine, if you fall into that trap, you will not be able to build with the women who you're persecuting. Do you get me? The ones you're coming down on, you're not going to be able to invest in a situation that could benefit those after you and then those involved in the situation at the moment. You know what I'm saying? If your criticisms are coming from a poisonous place, you know what I'm saying? If it's coming from really to me, that's entitlement, if you ask me. That's misogyny and that's entitlement. But we'll talk about that later. I'll do another video on that. But the point being, just because a woman is expressing her womanhood in a way that you disagree with, reserve judgment, because again, you wouldn't want anybody to judge you for the way you express yourself. You see what I'm saying? You wouldn't want anybody to come down on you and be critical of you because of the way you express yourself. You see what I'm saying? And if that's how she feels, she needs to show the world that she's liberated, she's a woman, she's sexy, she's beautiful. If that's the way she has in her mind and believes that's the way that she'll get that point across, let her do her. Even if you feel like it's wrong at the moment, because everybody has the opportunity to grow past their current understanding if you give them that opportunity. Especially on platforms where you have influence, people know you. Why would you even come out of your mouth in a judgmental vein? You know what I'm saying? Saying what you're saying, knowing that people are going to take into account your conclusion. And because we're being specific on this topic to the women, there's more than one way to demonstrate your womanhood. I'm not here to judge you and tell you the way you should, what's the right way, wrong way, but I don't want you to believe that being revealing, you know what I'm saying, showing your body parts and all that is the way to get a real man to acknowledge you. Now, there's a time and place for that. You feel me? I'm not gonna be that guy that's stuck in his ways and be like, man, you need to put some clothes on. A real woman don't dress like that and don't care. Nah, I'm not that dude. Because I'm a man, you know what I'm saying? I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? If your dimensions are a nice measurement, you feel me? I'm gonna acknowledge that. I'm gonna let it be known. Not in a creepy way, but just as a man, like, yo, I see you doing your thing. You know what I'm saying? You well built in a smoother way, but just to relay my point to you, I'm gonna acknowledge that. You get what I'm telling you? So that being said, that's not the only thing that'll get my attention. You feel me? Personally, I'm more intrigued with what's in your mind, what's on your head. You know what I'm saying? What goes through your mind at times, you know? What do you think about this? How you feel about that? You get me? Because look, what we're gonna end up doing if more and more of the men, those of us who should be building with our women, if more and more of us become critical to a point where we discourage women from feeling liberated and expressing that liberation the way they know how at this moment, we won't be able to build past this moment. And the reason I say that is, to me, women should be the first line of defense for any tribe to recognize whether a potential ally is worth building with. You know? The reason I say that is because if you go according to just your logic, something will make sense and sound good logically, you know what I'm saying? But intuitively, you know what I'm saying, it might go against that harmony of spirit. Women are more intuitive in my mind than men at this point in human history. The reason being is because women give birth, so naturally they are nurturers. They are considerate. You see what I'm saying? They are empathetic, compassionate. Because anything that can give birth to another thing or a human being, you know what I'm saying, has to be innately compassionate, understanding, sympathetic. You get me? You get what I'm saying? Naturally, to me, in my opinion. And it's very important because I don't want us to be stuck where we are right now, because we have a lot of repairing to do between men and women of our community, of our tribe, of our families. There has to be some kind of unity, at least a united front in public. Not in the phony way, but I'm not finna, you know what I'm saying, criticize you in front of every other community, every other culture, for everybody to hear. You know what I'm saying? For them to convene and be like, yeah, they are not, you know what I'm saying? Not that we have to impress anybody, but I'm just saying for the sake of presentability. You know what I'm saying? Because just as sure as other cultures are watching, we are watching each other when we criticize each other. God forbid an impressionable mind gets a hold of your criticism of another because you have influence. Now that's going to shape their mentality. You know what I'm saying? Now you're redirecting their focus. Because how a woman is dressed, how she presents herself, should not be the focus if you're trying to build anything substantial. That should not be the focus. And I didn't even get why the interview was going in that direction. They kind of irked me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not coming from a place of, I'm not simping when I say that. I'm not coming from a place that like a simp would, trying to get on the good side of all women. You know what I'm saying? And try to make it seem like I'm holier than thou. And, you know what I'm saying? Because I understand there are differences between women and then bitches, the opposite end. I get that. But even a bitch, you know what I'm saying, has intellect, has an understanding. You have to acknowledge that. At the very least, respect it if you don't want to get down with it. But for me to down her because of how she carrying herself, you know, in society, it's not for me to do, as long as I'm not a victim of how you carrying yourself. As long as I'm on my toes, you know what I'm saying? I'm on my game, you feel me? It's all real. Game meaning being true, you know what I'm saying? Not playing, but being true, being me, being who I said I am. That's what I mean by being on my game, just in case you didn't know. But yeah, man, very important. And then again, war can be fought in different ways, not just with artillery, with seduction. And if you get on the bad side of your women in your tribe and they don't justify your cause for which you're fighting, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be harder for you to make any kind of push that is, you know what I'm saying, worthwhile. Without the support of the women of your tribe, it's gonna be hard for you to carry on. You know what I'm saying? For you to fight on behalf of that cause. Do you get me? So why get on the bad side of the women of the tribe? The women in your community. You feel me? Reserve judgment until you fully understand the reasoning behind the expression. Do you get me? But just because she's dressed in a certain manner doesn't mean you have to judge her because you don't know her. Do you get me? On the flip side to the women, just because a guy presents himself in a certain way does not mean you have to judge him until you know him. And until you know him, don't judge him. That's all I would say. It will cut down on a lot of confusion. It will cut down on a lot of stagnation. You know what I'm saying? Lack of movement, lack of growth, lack of development, evolution, all that. Reserve judgment. Go check out my judgment video when you got time. You know what I'm saying? Let me put that on your mind as well, you know? In that judgment video, I talk about the very thing I'm telling you right now about reserving judgment. And I break down further why we should, and how it's vital for our growth. But, you know, back to the topic at hand, women are an important piece to the puzzle that is success, that is achievement. but whether you want to believe that or not. You know what I'm saying? If you believe that everything that is achieved takes takes unity, unity meaning camaraderie, meaning people who share a common goal, people who are a conglomerate sacrificing and submitting to the common goal. If you believe that's what it takes to achieve, then you will have to believe that it takes women as a part of that conglomerate to succeed naturally. And if you acknowledge a woman's not only difference, because every difference is unique, no difference is unimportant, but if you acknowledge the difference and then on top of that, cultivate, nurture, you know what I'm saying, water the seeds that is that woman, you know what I'm saying, that woman's being, in the long run will be better for it. But if we distance all the ones we disagree with because of our, I'm saying our, like speaking on behalf of men, because there are men who think like this. I don't think like this. But just for the sake of conversation, if we judge women based on our misogyny, you know what I'm saying, we set the standard for her as to how she should live, what's right, what's wrong, we're going to run the risk of discouraging her from wanting to draw closer to us. Do you get me? Naturally. Because who wants to be in a situation where they're always criticized? Y'all know that song? Criticize, you know what I'm saying? I know y'all know who that is. But yeah, we'll run the risk because of our criticisms of distancing those who we're supposed to grow closer to. We don't want that. We don't need that. You know what I'm saying? That's not conducive to growth. You get what I'm saying? Respect her means of warfare. Don't be a victim of that warfare. How can you not be a victim of that warfare? Acknowledge her gifts. Acknowledge what she brings to the table. You see what I'm saying? Because if you're preparing a meal, every dish makes the meal. You get what I'm saying? Even if you want to call it a side dish, entree, main course, nonetheless, without all those dishes, it's not a meal. And you need every dish on that table to make a meal. Do you get me? So I'm saying that to say, reserve judgment when it comes to those of ours especially. Let them do their thing. Let them rock how they rock. If you don't agree with it, if you don't feel like the kids should be listening to it, then you can easily turn the channel, you know what I'm saying, scroll up on Instagram, whatever. You can easily separate your focus from what you don't agree with, easily. Instead of watching it all the way through and then watching it just to criticize, to sound like you're an intellectual, you know what I'm saying, or a scholar, or whatever you want to call it, to sound like you are, it really is coming off as entitlement to me, man. Like you're holier than thou. Do you get me? You see what I'm saying? So, very important, man. I feel as though it's very important, and I want to share that with you. Yeah. And another thing, too. One more thing, and I'm going to slide out the way. When it comes to warfare, like I was telling you before, the different fronts you could fight a war on, you know? Many wars have been sparked because of a woman. That being said, the first bloodshed was initiated by men. Do you get what I'm saying? So the point being, if women are the first line of defense to decide whether one is an ally or not, do you get me? I'm talking about communities now, like tribes. Women in your tribe, if they're the first line of defense as far as filling out the person that's trying to create an alliance with you, right there in itself, you're acknowledging that gift. You're acknowledging that her intuitiveness is something you trust, you respect, you know what I'm saying? And you have to follow through, meaning if she says, nah, this ain't it, roll with that. Pick her brain too. Don't just jump on the whim and be like, okay, you said it, so yeah, because now you're sounding simpish. But I'm saying, like, question, ask the question, like, why you feel like that? You get me? And if she's not willing to express why, then you know that feeling is founded in something not genuine. Because again, women are prone to emotions, just like men, but women are more in tune, in my opinion, to their emotions. Now, emotions run the gamut from negative to positive. You get me? So her being the first line of defense, sometimes that feeling might be founded in a negative sense, or founded in a negative feeling, negative emotion. She might be envious or jealous. You know what I'm saying? If it's a woman that you guys are vetting to see if she's worthy of an alliance. You know what I'm saying? It might be jealousy. That's why you have to ask the question, like, why you feel like that? Break it down. And she has to be willing to break it down. So you guys can come to an understanding as to why the course of action that will be taken next would be the right step, you know? So that's very important. And if you don't make women, in my opinion, this is all my perspective, all my opinion, so you could disagree, but if women are not the first line of defense, you know what I'm saying? I feel as though that's why we are what we are now. Because if you look at how things are today, currently, when it comes to those of mine, our women, they have been forced to be somewhat independent, kind of distanced from their men, us, you know what I'm saying? Because of the incentives, the concessions by way of resources from the government, different stipulations. Like for example, Section 8. With Section 8, right, it is mandatory, because I've read a Section 8 application, a man cannot, it's pretty much saying a man cannot be in the equation. It's for women who have children, low income, you know what I'm saying? It's for that strictly. You get me? And then you might possibly get kicked out if they run a check and check your apartment, your dwelling place, and there's a man there, she's gonna run into problems. That's an incentive to not have a man to stay in Section 8. Do you get me? So I'm saying that to say our women have been incentivized to separate from us. That being said, we have not been able to cultivate a relationship to even acknowledge that she is a necessary part of our tribe, a necessary.
Yeah, pick yourself up and try again. Who can I call if I slip and fall? Yeah. Hey, who can I call if I slip and fall? Why? Trying not to lose sight of the mission. The bigger picture's taken out of my vision. Conflicts got me hella conflicted. I'm wishing and praying, but nobody's listening. I need time to find my mind. I'm losing it. Peacetime divides vibes. I'm used to it. It's the crime to pick sides. If you're new to this, never be confused. I'm true to this. And if you care, let me share some truer shit. Life ain't fair if you wear.